TriStateFootball.com here with Andy Olds, the head coach of the Kings Knights. And Kings went 11-1 last year, undefeated in the regular season. And Andy, man, I'm looking at your team on paper. You look like you got a lot of good stuff returning.
You know what, Greg? This is the most kids we've had return in quite some time. I think we returned 14 starters. So, we lost some key guys. DeAndre Barnett, accounted for 1,600 yards. We got to replace him. Then our two bookend defensive ends really were the key to our defense. Tommy Bruns is going to go to Air Force. Then Kyle Handorf is a two-time all-conference guy. So those two guys on the ends, and DeAndre, of course, our kicking game. Adam Wisty. We're going to really, really miss him. I think we'll be able to make field goals, but the Knights will be lined up for a 48-yard field goal this year. Not yet, so. Well,
over the past 10 years or so, since I've been covering you guys, you've always had great kickers. Where do you get those guys, and is there somebody that can step up again?
Well, what happens, the kickers do a great job of giving back. They hang around, they kind of self-recruit and find the next kicker. So it's kind of a nice little fraternity we've had. It's nothing that I've driven. I've supported it, but those guys go out and recruit, and we actually just had a move-in from the Ukraine, a freshman kicker, but he's about a year away from learning English, and once he learns English, we're going to go after him.
That's a good thing. Talk about a freshman last year. Justin Weiss stepped up for you. Because you don't play freshmen very often. Justin Crow, I think, might have been the last.
Yeah, we don't like to play freshmen, Greg, but Justin just, he's not like a freshman, he is a freshman, chronologically speaking, but physically. Now he's 185 pounds. He's almost 6'2". He's athletic. He's fearless, and he really his probably best position, I think, is a tailback. But he's one of our best wide receivers, and we're going to try to keep him outside as long as we can. Of course, that we find someone who can carry the rock for us, and then we'll be okay.
And your quarterback was a sophomore last year, Tyler Neck. He's got a year under his belt now. What do you like about this kid?
He's just so competitive. He's competitive in the classroom. He likes to get straight A's. He's got a B or two now, but he comes from great stock. Mom and dad, great people, very, very competitive. Brother, really competitive. Dad and uncles all played for Muller, so there's winning in the blood. He knows how to win. He wants to win. Great basketball player as well, so he's very athletic, and he's got high goals. He wants to play in college, and he's known that ever since he's been about in 6th or 7th grade. So he's driven. He knows what he wants, so we're going to try to support him as much as we can.
Let's talk a little bit about the schedule coming up. Lebanon, Xenia, a couple GWAC South schools to start it off. Obviously Lebanon's a great rivalry, but when you got a game like that, and even though you got two GWAC South schools, it's almost too difficult to not play Lebanon because of the gate draw, isn't it?
Yeah. At one point, and this is my 17th season as head coach, we thought the Lebanon was going to be a year in and year out thing. And it fell off from the wayside for whatever reason, but we got them back on the schedule. And it's a great rival. And it's truly a rival where, I think on paper we might be a little bit stronger than those guys coming in, but, it's going to be a touchdown ball game, maybe a 10-point ball game. Sean does what he does. He gets the best kids out over at Lebanon. He's got a great staff, so they work really hard. So we keep tabs on those guys. We know what they're doing most of the time. And then, of course, Bob DeLong at Xenia, a longtime friend. Bob and I have a common thread. We both love to fish. And we both fish in Canada quite often. So I visit him in his trailer a lot. And now that we're playing each other, it's kind of cool. So, I don't think he'll be sharing any more fishing holes with me. So, Bob, we look forward to playing Xenia. They're going to be athletic, and it'll be great for us on our schedule.
Yeah, and then, obviously your league this year, so many good returning players who have been productive in the ECC. Talk about, some of these guys and some of these teams are going to be facing.
Well, Glen Estey's going to be probably the one everyone's going to have the target on. And we won it last year, but, DeAndre Barnett pulled an unbelievable 85-yard screenplay deep in our own territory to run an unbelievable play. But Nick Ayers and what Glen Estey's been doing, they're going to get a lot of people's attention. They've got a lot of people's attention now. They got a great quarterback coming back. They got a great defensive line coming back. So they're going to be probably the pick of the litter. And then, of course, Fred over at Loveland. Last year, after they'd won a state championship, and we talked, the guys who win state championships, it's really hard to come back that next year with hungry kids. And I think we got them. They maybe overlooked us a little bit last year early on. And this year, they got Waddell coming back, and they got the great, Saunders, the defensive lineman, who's, all world for us. He's got a lot of scholarships, so our kids will be excited to play against him and just what he can do. So he's proven himself already. He's a great coach, and it's also a great rivalry.
Now, you look at some of these things, your team getting over the hump, and you played Winton Woods, you played Trotwood and Madison. What's it going to take for you guys to win a regional title?
It's just I need a little bit of luck. The talk is Sycamore is going to drop down Division II. In my mind, Sycamore is probably number 2 or number 3 in the GMC. Mm-hmm. So we're going to need LaSalle and Sycamore to bump into each other before we get a chance to hit them. If we're fortunate enough to get in the playoffs, it's going to take something like that. And then, Winton Woods has been kind of laying in the weeds. Andre Park, they're great every year. They're where they're at because of their schedule and all their challenges filling the schedule. But Winton Woods gets into that tournament. I'd say teams 1 through 5 are as good as it's ever been. And again, I'm speaking from experience. It's been a long time. So, you know what? You just got to go out and play. You got to convince your kids, Greg. You just got to go out and play the game. You still got to play. And that's what we have to do. And, we did it 3 or 4 years ago at Trotwood. Had them down 20-0. They were right at the edge of the cliff getting ready to jump off.
Yep, they
were one play away from jumping off the cliff, and, the rest of the story happened. But
I never seen a game turn so fast in my life in that second half. I was like, what is going on? Boom, all of a sudden, It was you had them, and it was that was a difficult thing. And you're 147 and 45 in 17 years as a head coach. What is... why is it still fun for you? Why do you still get out there and do this?
My third year going into it, I thought, man, I was going to be done. I'd ran out of energy. I said, man, how do these guys do it? And something happens. Maybe you connect with a player in a special situation, and if he doesn't have football, he's not going to make it. So I've had enough of those instances. I've got great encounters with great coaches and great people in the community, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm starting to enjoy now having coaches that played for me. So now they're trying to form their own philosophy, but they're taking little bits and pieces of what I've instilled in them and saying, man, that's still important. We think that's part of our program. So now that's coming back around. The Corandini guy, I hired him years ago. Alex Garvin, offensive coordinator, played for me. So that's really rewarding, Greg. And not a lot of coaches get to experience that. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm still as hungry today as I was the very first day. A little bit smarter, but man, I love it, man. It's a great gig. We're blessed and lucky to be high school football coaches.
Well, you should have another good year again. That's Andy Olds, the head coach of the Kings Knights.
Thanks, Greg.